Welcome back to the Icon Edit. I'm your host Ivona. Today's episode is about food, but not what you think. My guest today is Christelle Bedrossian. She's an emotional eating specialist and expert in behavior change. With a background as a clinical dietitian, hypnotherapist, and breathwork practitioner, she helps people transform their relationship with food and their bodies, break free from emotional eating, and end weight struggles by addressing the true roots of lasting change. So in this conversation, we are not going to talk about diets and rules and more on what actually drives emotional eating. Christelle, welcome to the Icon Edit. I'm so happy to have you here.
Thank you.
So for anyone meeting you for the first time, how do you describe what you do beyond the word dietitian or nutritionist?
Yeah, so when we say dietetic, we always think about calories, what we need to eat, different types of diets. But what I do is I do not talk about diets. I do not count calories. What we do is we tackle the weight struggles from an emotional perspective and a mental perspective. So what the person is feeling, what he's thinking about when he eats, how he's eating, where he's eating, why he's eating, yeah, not what he's eating.
That sounds this is a very different approach than the classical nutrition advice. And before we were meeting, you told me that you decline interviews nowadays that focus on the best diet or specific foods. Can you tell me why and what made the shift to this approach that you have now?
I believe that people know now what they need to eat. They know how to count calories. They might be even better than me, right? As a dietitian at counting calories. They've tried it all. And you have ChatGPT. You can, ask any question you want in terms of what's the content. You have now a lot of apps. You just scan a barcode. You just take a picture and you get all the information. So I really need to give I need to give a value, right? So it cannot be something that they can find everywhere. And when we're talking about this, you need to tackle the emotional part, the mental part. Yeah, ChatGPT he cannot really be like the human. He cannot replace the human side of it. So, and I've done so many interviews over the past 17 years about the diets, the specific types of food, and people I know, they like magic potion, the best soup that makes you lose weight and things like that. So I'm done with that. I really want to bring an added value to that. And it is the emotional and mental part because I think very few people talk about it and we don't tackle it as much as we should. People know what they need to eat, but they cannot maintain it. And that's the problem. And this is where I would like to be interviewed about.
So is this what you would understand as emotional eating is the not being able to maintain the healthy diet, that you know what you can eat or should eat, but something in you just can't maintain it. Is this what emotional eating is about? What
Actually,
would you say?
it's one driver. So it's the reason why you cannot maintain your weight. Emotional eating is actually when you're eating because of your emotions, not because of hunger. And the end result of that will be the weight struggles, the yo-yo diet. You go up and down with your weight. So emotional eating is very, a lot of people think, but I don't have emotional eating. And then I ask a few questions and then it is very common. We all have emotional eating. I've never seen one person who doesn't have emotional eating, but to different degrees, right? And for different types of food. And some people think, but I don't eat when I'm sad, or I don't eat when I'm stressed. Yeah, some people eat when they are happy, but it's still because of an emotion, right? To celebrate. So it's not hunger. So if you want, it's any reason you're eating, not because of hunger.
What would you say are the most common triggers that you see for emotional? Is it stress or boredom? For me, for instance, it's boredom. So when I'm bored, I'm trying to think, what could I eat? What do I have in the fridge? Is it loneliness? Is it the reward of some kind? As you said, like when you celebrate. So what would you say is the most common
I've
trigger?
seen all emotions, right, with people. And you have some people who eat just because of two emotions, like sadness and loneliness. And others have a big spectrum, for so many different emotions. But definitely stress eating that's why some people identify with stress eating more than emotional eating. And that's why I use sometimes stress eating rather than saying emotional eating, especially men. So men, they don't really like the emotional eating word. So even when I'm doing, some reels, when I talk about emotional eating, they might not like it or they might not engage in conversation. And when I talk about stress eating, they directly feel, yeah, that's me.
Feels more manly, maybe the worst stress.
Yeah, maybe because they are a little bit afraid to share their emotions and to talk about emotions versus women. So stress eating is really common and very common, especially in Dubai with the fast pace, lifestyle we have, but also loneliness, and we can really also feel it and see it. People are busy here. Some people, they don't have their families with them. We're all expats here. So this brings a little bit of loneliness to that. So at night when they come back from work, they're a little bit alone. So they sit in front of the TV and they start eating because of loneliness and boredom.
And the accessibility is insane, when you
Yes.
it's always something different when you have to cook for yourself or just order something with one click.
That's another thing, like how accessible it is, the easy, apps that we have. In one click, you can have anything you want at any time you want.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. And if you're like feeling the craving, instead of, you have time to think and go and get what you want, no, it's just one click.
Yeah.
So definitely this makes it worse, especially at night when you're alone and when you're bored. But yeah, so this is it. Is stress, is sadness.
Yeah.
And when I say sadness, people would look at me. Boredom is sadness. Loneliness is sadness.
Yeah, in some way, definitely.
Yeah, when you look at the emotional wheel and you find the loneliness and the boredom, it is on the sadness spectrum.
How can someone like a normal person like me differentiate between physical hunger and emotional hunger?
That's very important. It's not like every time you're going to just eat a chocolate, you say, I'm emotionally eating. No, it's not that, right? Yeah, so there are differences. First, the physical hunger is biological. So you have signs in your body, but we're not tuned to our body. That's why we don't see it. So we can have symptoms in the stomach, like the stomach you will see it growling or making sounds. You feel it empty. It can hurt a little bit when you're hungry. And you feel it in your head because you can start having a little bit of headache or migraine. You become a little bit moody, cranky, yeah? And we call it
Hangry.
hangry, exactly. You're hungry and you become angry, you want food. So this is when your body really wants fuel. It wants energy, calories. When we eat, the food will be transformed into calories that gives the fuel to the cells to function.
Yeah.
So this is a really biological need. Whereas the emotional hunger is a craving, it's actually, you cannot locate it in your body. It's not in your stomach. It's not in your head. You just have it in a sudden way. It's quick. It's not gradual like the regular hunger. So it comes suddenly at any time, unexpected. It could be after a big, huge lunch or at night, or even you wake up and feel it. By the way, we call it night eating syndrome. So the emotional hunger is the need for dopamine. So it's not a biological need for calories or fuel. It's a change in hormones, serotonin, dopamine. So the body needs it. And then the body got used to take it from the food.
Yeah.
Because there are some types of food that will increase it. And definitely you don't go for a salad when you're craving. You're going to go for chocolate and for chips because they help you, with the serotonin and dopamine hit that you need it. So, yeah, emotional hunger, if you get tuned to your body, you will see no symptoms. It's the thought or a desire, and it's very specific to a type of food.
Yeah.
So emotional hunger is specific for a type of food. It's salty or sugary, or you can think, I want to eat a donut.
Yeah.
It's very specific.
Yeah.
But hunger can be satisfied
By anything, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And if you want to test yourself, like imagine a dish that you don't really like, but if you're really hungry, you're going to eat it. If it's the only thing on the table, you're going to go and eat it. So this is how you will differentiate between I'm hungry, like really hungry, and I'm emotionally eating.
Yeah. How does this loop work? Because I guess people, when they do emotional eating, and even if they don't realize they are doing emotional eating, at the end of this loop, they always feel guilt, right? So you eat something, as you said, like the donut, then you eat the donut, then you maybe feel physically bad also, but also mentally, you're like, why did I do that? I was not even hungry. So how to break out of this, or what's really happening psychologically after this loop ends with the guilt?
First, we need to realize that we're feeling bad about it. Because honestly, I put a lot of polls on Insta. And when I ask them, do you feel guilty after you eat like something emotionally? And always you get the answer, no. Yeah.
Okay.
Especially for men. Men do not feel guilty at all after eating. Like they own their decision, you know?
Yeah.
But we need to really watch our thoughts. How am I really feeling? Maybe not in the moment, because guess what? I think the guilt came so many times that the person at the end, or their brain, told them, you know what? We're not going to feel guilty anymore. We're going to just enjoy it. So the guilt disappeared. So they can allow themselves to just enjoy it whenever they want to enjoy it. So for some people, the guilt is clear. Some people, I'm not saying that nobody feels guilty. They do. Some people do not see it anymore because they shut it down, because it felt so annoying to feel it every time and they want to enjoy the food, so they shut it down. And some people do not feel it at all, especially men. So why the guilt? Because basically you understand when you eat that you were not hungry.
Yeah.
That's the thing, because food is, at the end of the day, here to nourish our body. And we know deep down that I'm eating, but I'm not hungry. I might have finished a lunch, right? A big, huge meal. But then I want to eat this and it's not enough. And they feel guilty because, and most of the time, they start feeling it physically. So they feel so bloated, so stuffed. So like the food is here, like they want to vomit. That they feel guilty, like I did something wrong to my body. I didn't care for my body. I didn't love my body by stuffing it and pushing it to eat more than it wanted.
Yeah. But how does willpower fit in all of this? Because so many people are you just have to, like the willpower, you have to have enough willpower just to not eat while these cravings come.
Yeah.
This cannot be enough, right?
No. And I wouldn't be here if it is a solution, or the willpower could be a solution. Willpower is not the solution, and the willpower is not the problem. That's the thing. So it's not the solution because it's not the problem. The problem resides in the nervous system, in the emotions, and in the thoughts, the inner dialogue, what I'm telling to myself. So if we're relying on our motivation or willpower, it's not going to work. Guess what? Because when we're stressed, there's no willpower. So in the best scenario, in the beautiful life, willpower and motivation could work.
Yeah.
But when we are stressed, motivation is gone. Willpower is gone. We're oversaturated, right? With work, the kids, I don't know, depending on our lives. But willpower will not help me because it disappears when I'm stressed.
Yeah.
And that's why I need to look, how's my nervous system? How are my emotions? Am I attuned to my emotions? And what am I thinking about? How am I talking about my body? How I'm talking to myself?
You said that men have a little different approach to emotional eating. So you say stress is a big factor for them. What is it for women, or what would you say is the difference between men and women when it comes to emotional eating?
Actually, men, they eat more when they are in social settings and when they are bored at night. This is the most common one, according to studies. Versus women, they tend to eat more to comfort their emotions. So in terms of when they are sad or they want relief. So we're seeing a difference in how they have their emotional eating, but also to the types of food they go to. So women, because they want comfort and relief, they would go for chocolate, for sugary food, for donuts. And that's why we always see like the woman with the chocolate or with the ice cream, right? Because they need comfort because of a sadness or a bit of anxiety. Whereas men, they go for fast food, for steaks, burger, and alcohol. That's why you might not think directly that this man is emotionally eating because you look, he's not eating chocolate or a donut or an ice cream. You always have that picture of a woman at night with the ice cream.
Yeah. Is it also maybe because women, there is this stigma about women, women were shamed when they were eating too much in social settings?
I think it's the type of food. So men look always for survival.
Yeah.
And fat will make you feel full for a longer period of time. Whereas the chocolate gives you a quick, instant energy.
Yeah. And like dopamine, serotonin, as you said.
It gives you that as well. So it's
sugar.
really wired in your nervous system. It's really, really interesting,
What would you say is the difference between binge eating and emotional eating? Or is one the consequence of the other?
Yeah, binge eating is it's a disorder. It's among the eating disorders. So we have like anorexia, bulimia, binge eating disorder. It's really a medical, it's a clinical problem. Whereas emotional eating is very common. We can do it many times, and it's not really disruptive to our life in general. So with the binge eating is you're eating a huge quantity of food in a very short period of time.
Yeah.
You might not be doing that when you're emotionally eating. I'm emotionally eating, for example, I feel sad, I feel lonely, I go and get that chocolate. It could be one or two. But the binge eating is more than that. It's when you're really, you reach a point where you're really gonna vomit because you ate too much.
Yeah.
So it's really different in terms of how disruptive it is to your life, how often it is, like you're doing it constantly all day long, kind of every day, or you're, randomly doing it.
And then you try to hide it. Also,
there's definitely the hiding part. Yeah, there are different, it's a questionnaire, and you have to answer the questionnaire, and you have to have different criteria to be identified as someone who has a binge eating disorder. And in that case, you need the dietitian with the psychologist to help you with that.
When someone who is listening now, after all that you said about emotional eating, is thinking, that sounds like me, what would you recommend him to do?
Well, first, to try to check the pattern. Okay, let me see. Let me write it down. When am I eating most often? Or where is like the feeling that I'm emotionally eating? Is it at work? Is it at night? What is the emotion that comes a little bit before? How quick am I eating? So look at your pattern to just try to collect some insights, and then definitely go and talk about it with an expert in emotional eating. So you can see, do you really have it? Is it really an issue? Or you might be having something, more important or more
serious.
More serious, like a binge eating disorder.
It's so funny because I sometimes watch the show My 600-Pound Life. I don't know if you know it. Mm-hmm. It's on. It's an American show, I think, on TLC or something, and it's about people who are really, really heavy. So they have like 600, 700, 800 pounds. So people who gained a lot of weight. And funny to me is that they also always work with a psychologist, because those people, what they are doing is like, it's also emotional eating. And when they interview them, they always say, this is the only good part about my life, the food, Yes. So, yeah, that's really interesting. What are your favorite questions people can ask themselves in the moment to interrupt this autopilot emotional eating mode?
Am I really hungry, or am I craving? Yeah.
And then it comes to willpower, I guess.
No, just asking, because once they ask this question and they say like, no, I'm not really hungry. So then the second question would be, what am I feeling?
Yeah.
And then they would start going the emotional part, right? To understand their emotions. It's the emotional understanding. Because, you're regulating the emotion through food. Yeah. So to help yourself is first to understand what you're feeling, and then to support yourself and give yourself another coping mechanism.
Yeah.
It could be a healthy alternative, like go for a walk, or go take a shower, or talk to a friend, or meditate, or listen to music.
Yeah.
Because you want to support yourself and support that emotion or regulate that emotion with a different tool.
Yeah.
And sometimes you don't have to do anything else. You just have to sit with your feeling. And that's a little bit the harder part, right? And this is what I train in my workshop. So I have a workshop over 6 weeks. Why? Because you need to build that skill of asking myself what I'm feeling, trying to find a healthier alternative, but also to learn to sit with the feeling. Because once you sit with the feeling, you don't have to eat because you met that emotion. You gave it what it needs, which is to be seen.
Yeah.
If you're lonely, it's okay to sit and say, you know what? I feel lonely.
Yeah.
Instead
and
of
just
pushing
accepting
it,
and
it's
dealing
accepting
with it.
it.
Yeah.
Listen to it, what it's telling you. How are you feeling it in the body? Instead of rejecting it or, oh my God, I feel sorry for myself, I feel lonely. Or why am I lonely? Or start feeding that thought with negative, like I don't have friends and things like that. Just, I feel lonely, and actually be compassionate about it. And self-compassion is 3 steps. So the first one is acknowledge, what am I feeling? So yes, I feel lonely. And then the second one, talk to yourself as if you're talking to a friend. Yeah, it happens, you're feeling it right now, but, feelings are like waves. They come and go. And then the third one is remember the common humanity, which is everybody feels lonely, right? From time to time. So this is normal. This is the sitting with the feeling. So do you see the difference?
Yeah. It almost sounds to me a little bit like, let's say, when you quit smoking. Mm-hmm. Because then in the beginning, you also try to find an alternative. So you're starting to chew gums or have a lolly or whatever. And then with time, you realize that you don't even need this supplement anymore. And the sitting with it is the hardest part. But I guess people can get used to anything in a certain amount of time. So that's why I'm fascinated by the 6 week, because they say like 3 to 6 weeks, it takes a person to get used to something new, like a new habit or something like that. So I guess that's a good approach to.
Yes, any habit you have, you can unlearn it because a habit, you learn it.
So it's a behavioral change, basically.
Yes, that's why it's emotional eating and behavioral change. So it's actually 3 parts. So you always start by replacing it with a healthier thing. So instead of eating a donut, you would say, okay, let me eat something maybe a bit sugary, but not that heavy, a bit less calories.
Like a date or something.
Correct, like 2 dates. And then you get that sugary thing, and then you have the little boost of serotonin. And then the second step is trying a healthier alternative. Go for a walk, go to nature, talk to a friend, etc. And then the hardest part is to sit with the feeling, but it's a must, If you don't learn how to sit with our feelings, we're going to still use unhealthy tools to cope with our emotions. And you mentioned smoking is very important because overeating or emotionally eating, smoking, drinking, over shopping, gambling, scrolling on everything looks the same. It's the same thing, but for you can use this tool. Another person is using another tool. So we should not, shame any person for having any addiction or an unhealthy habit, because everything is related to, I like dopamine, I like serotonin. I really want, it's a cry for help. I want to help myself, but I cannot soothe myself other than using something. Sometimes it happens to be really unhealthy. Sometimes you use exercise to give you that boost and it's good, but some people go also too much.
It can get
so it's all about moderation. And even with the emotional eating, when we work on emotional eating, doesn't mean that you're not going to eat chocolate anymore or not at all. It's actually just to have it in a moderate way, not to affect your weight.
And a healthier relationship with food, right?
Yes, and to make a choice, because you don't want to react. Mm-hmm. You want to own a decision.
You're feeling controlled.
Yes. So whenever you want to emotionally eat, and sometimes I post like I'm emotionally eating to, make it, to normalize emotional eating, and for people not to think like I'm not human, I don't emotionally eat. No, I do
Nobody's
have emotional
perfect,
eating.
Right?
Nobody is perfect. And actually it's part of a human being. So I do emotionally eat, but I'm aware I'm emotionally eating. I pause and I say, you know what? I don't feel like sitting with my emotion right now because it's really too much, and I don't want to do any healthy alternative, I'm going to emotionally eat. I'm choosing this chocolate. I'm going to enjoy it. I'm owning my decision, and I do it, and no guilt afterwards.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so true. You also work with breath work. This sounds very trendy to some people probably.
Yeah.
But what does it actually do in connection with the emotional regulation and how does it help with cravings or such?
Yeah, so you might say, yeah, hypnotherapy, it's understandable. It's working with the subconscious mind and the driver of emotional eating. But what breath work does with all of this, emotional eating, body image, all this, actually, it's a nervous system problem. Emotional eating, it's a nervous system problem. We're not regulated. So whenever you are in a fight or fight mode, okay, and this is what we are living, especially in Dubai, you need something to help you regulate your nervous system. And one of the best way to do that is through breath work. Why? Because in the breath, our lungs function in a very automatic way. You don't think like, I need to breathe. You're just breathing like your heart is beating. But your lungs are as well the only part of your automatic nervous system where you can control it. So now you can make your breath faster or slower.
Yeah. And then other parts of your body will react to that, right?
So you can manipulate your breath. And it's a bridge between your conscious mind and subconscious mind.
Yeah.
Through the breath, you can shift gears. So you can go from, oh my God, I'm so tired, and like you just woke up and you just feel that you're so tired. With a small technique of a breath work, you wake up by giving some energy and oxygen to your body, like the breath of fire. 5 minutes, you wake up.
Yeah.
And the opposite, if you're so stressed, you went out of a meeting and you feel like you want to eat a lot, to calm down before you go and eat everything in the ref, you just calm down, take a breath, and do the 5 in, 5 out breath work.
Yeah.
It's called the balancing breathing. This one regulates and make your brain with your heart, with your lungs, like beat at the same time.
Yeah.
It regulates it. So you calm down and then you found a healthy alternative.
Is it basically a little bit like meditation, right? Because when you meditate, you also work a lot with your breath, like feeling where the breath is going and
One type of meditation, you use your breath, like you focus on breath. This is one type of meditation. So yes, it's actually a healthy alternative, whether it's meditation, breath work, going in nature. These are different tools that we can use on a regular basis, just like journaling, right?
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about body image. How does body image connect to emotional eating and weight struggles? I mean, obviously weight struggles because when you don't feel good in your own body, then you struggle with weight, right?
They are like a triangle, you have body image here, emotional eating here, and then you have the weight struggles.
Yeah.
So what happens is that when a person have a negative body image, and by the way, like the body image is not just how you're seeing your body. It's how you're feeling about your body, how you're seeing it, how you're talking to it. Yeah, and how you're changing your environment and your lifestyle because of it. So it's your relationship with food. So assuming you have a negative body image, and actually it can go from a normal, simple body dissatisfaction, like I don't really like my body, or I want to lose some weight, or I don't like my thighs, to like really you have a negative body image. You don't like it, you talk negatively about it, you talk to yourself in a negative way. So you're not compassionate about it. When you have this, you're going to control your eating.
Yeah.
You're going to restrict yourself. You're going to go into very strict diets. Or you're going to over-exercise. And when you do that, you're going to fall into the opposite.
Yeah.
Then you're going to have emotional
you have high
eating.
cortisol also, and you struggle even more with your weight when 100%. You over-exercise or,
When you're also feeling like very bad about your body and overly criticizing your body, you will have a higher cortisol. You're feeling stressed about it.
Yeah. Social media makes this part much harder, I have the feeling. Do you have any advice for protecting your self-image in this, I would say, comparison culture?
Yeah, definitely work on your algorithm. And if we're talking about Insta, and there are so many ways, like I give them usually to my patients, like I give them a link where they learn how to shift the algorithm. So you can pick the interest that you have, and I tell them remove modeling, remove food, remove all these words that you don't want to be bombarded by those pictures. Because definitely when you're going to open your Insta and you see the food and pictures of really yummy food, you're going to want to eat. And then you ask yourself, wow, why did I crave that donut? Because actually you saw it. And the same thing for bodies. If you keep seeing very beautiful bodies and actually filtered pictures, photoshopped pictures, your brain thinks that whatever it's seeing, it's normal and it's true.
And real,
And it's real. And we're not wired to compete with thousands of women. We're not meant to do that. Like, maximum you could compete with few women around you, like if we want to compare our life before. But now you're competing with thousands of people and nothing is real.
Yeah.
So, and our brain will not understand that it's not real. So even if I tell myself, yeah, this is not a real picture, my body registers as normal.
Yeah.
So change your algorithm, go and follow people who are talking about this. Yeah. Feed your brain with the right nutrients.
Yeah, this is
pictures.
Very good advice, actually, When someone comes to you and says, you know what, I have tried everything and I did the diets and the calorie counting and this and that, and obviously they don't have any health issues that would lead to otherwise, what do you suspect is being missed emotionally or mentally with this person?
It's definitely the nervous system, the emotions, and the thoughts and inner dialogue.
Yeah.
And this is why the 3 pillars that I work on are those pillars. Nervous system, it's the foundation. Then the thoughts and how you're talking to yourself, inner dialogue or inner critic, and then the emotions. You need to tackle the 3. So it's not only emotional eating, but maybe that's the only part that you can understand if I tell you, are you emotionally eating? If I tell you, your nervous system, you're going to tell me, how will I feel my nervous system? How do I even know?
Yeah, how do you know?
I will help you understand what's going on with it. But of course, there are symptoms like, look at your breath. Is it shallow?
Yeah.
Do you cut it while driving?
Yeah.
Yeah? So there are different signs that show you're in a fight or flight mode. Yeah. And if your body is dysregulated, we have different symptoms and we can tell.
If you could change one thing about how women approach weight struggle, what would it be?
A message?
Yeah, like what message would you send out to women who are struggling with the weight and who need help, obviously?
Love your body.
But this is so
I know.
hard.
I will give you tips. We always say like self-love. What is self-love? Like, 1, watch what you're saying to yourself. Are you labeling yourself, labeling your body nonstop? I'm undisciplined. I don't have willpower. My body's not nice. I don't look good. Yeah, I'm fat. I'm ugly. And all these labels, I've heard them before. I look like a cow. I look like a whale. I've heard them all. Yeah. And put a list.
This is so sad. It really makes me sad when I hear that out loud.
See, so we start with non-labeling. We don't label ourselves. And we talk to ourselves as if we are talking to a friend. That's the only tip. Would you say you're a loser?
This is such a good tip because you have to see yourself from an outer perspective maybe more.
Yes. We got used to saying negative things that it's just, a habit now.
Yeah.
So now shift to, I will imagine I have a friend next to me. What will I allow myself to tell that friend?
Yeah.
If I won't say it to her, then why would I say it to myself?
Yeah.
So nice word. And I'm not saying like have a very, a lot of positivity, like going from I don't like my body to, wow, my body's so nice. No, don't go into that. It could be either neutral or just stop the negative talk. Yeah. And the more you practice self-compassion and sitting with the feeling, the more you will feel you're able now to say nicer things to yourself. And definitely surround yourself with people who just, give you nice compliments, not attack you, not every time like you're wearing something, oh, what is this? Or because you're feeding your brain and you don't see it. And
that's so true.
What they are saying, this is actually body image It doesn't come now in adulthood. It comes from the comments of people, the family, the peers when you are young, but it builds with everything, the messages, the comments, the compliments you're getting.
I know a lot of women who have developed real eating disorders from the fact that they were, let's say, shamed by their fathers at the table for
Yes.
eating or eating the wrong things or, you know.
That's why we need to change the conditioning. And the
Yeah.
childhood conditioning is huge. It's a huge part of, rewiring and making the relationship with our body healthier. We remove the conditioning. We need to see it first, yeah, because we got used to it.
Yeah.
We got used to receive those kind of message. We think it's real. And especially like women, they see a lot their cellulite, their stretch mark. And
Yeah.
when you tell them, that men don't see that, I don't know how the brain of a woman,
We're
sees that.
criticizing ourselves more than
Yeah, we're overthinking it.
Yeah.
But it's built from the messages we got, from the emotions we felt, from experiences, and it's wired in our nervous system.
Yeah.
So even if I tell you, but no, you have a beautiful body. Imagine you have a negative body image, and you
Yeah.
come for help, and I tell you, but guess what? No, you're beautiful. You have a beautiful body. Will you register this?
I would probably not believe it
Exactly.
that you're truthful.
Why? Because that belief is in your nervous system.
Yeah.
It's in the emotion you felt at that time, in that experience when someone told you that. And people's comments, they are not aware how, hurtful they are. Especially, and even the good ones. I will give you an example. When you come from a vacation, wow, you lost weight. This is none of your business. You should not comment on a body, even if you lost weight.
Yeah.
You think you're giving her a nice compliment, right?
I mean, if you know that the person is trying to lose weight and they really obviously lose weight, then I think it's a good compliment to tell someone.
But you're putting also pressure. You know
Yeah,
why?
that's true.
Because if that person goes and emotionally eat
Mm-hmm.
and then gain a little bit of weight, when she comes back and she sees you, she will feel the disappointment.
Yeah.
You gained back again.
Yeah.
Guess what? Weight will go up and down. And it's none of the business of any other person than the person itself.
Yeah, absolutely. You're right. You also have an MBA in leadership and management. Has that changed how you think about change habits, accountability?
It helps me because my work is not only on an individual level. I work with corporates, with teams.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because when you change a behavior, you have to change it on an individual level, but you need also to work on a team level.
Yeah.
And this is crucial and important in corporates, especially, a lot of people would tell me, yeah, but I have that way of working and my work is so stressful and we do this and we do that. So, yeah, I do understand the background of the corporate world and I work with corporates because to change the performance of a person, you don't go and you punish him or you reduce his, salary. It's by changing the drivers, changing the emotions, the thoughts, the distortions they are having. It's exactly the same and the same work as on an individual level. So we work on a corporate level to improve the performance of the people, a behavioral change.
Okay, that sounds good. And if I'm also right, please correct me if I'm wrong, you are trained as a kids yoga teacher.
Yeah.
So has become it, or I don't know if you are a mother or not, but how has working with kids changed your approach on body image, let's say? Because kids, as you said, often these things are introduced to us at a very young age. So what's your perception on that?
So first, I'm a mother of twins. I have
Oh my God,
a boy and a girl. They are 6 years old. And I learned yoga for kids just to train with them, to have a beautiful activity. So I do not teach kids, but I just do it with my kids, including breath work and visualization, which is the version of a meditation for adults. So definitely, working with kids is important because you're building the body image, and even the emotional eating starts from a young age, from 3 years old. So the behavior starts from there. And how mothers are behaving with their kids. Are they punishing with food? Are they rewarding with food? Those messages are coming from childhood.
Yeah.
So when someone is rewarding himself after a long day at work with food, I directly ask them, were you rewarded when you were a kid with food? Like, be nice and you get a donut, yeah? Or behave and you get that. Or if you're not behaving, you won't get your dessert. If you don't finish your plate, we're not going to have a dessert. All these messages are coming from childhood. That's why working with kids is very important. Doing awareness at schools, and I do, awareness for parents and for kids about body image and emotional eating is very important. You're building that from a young age.
Yeah, that's so true. When someone would want to work with you, because they obviously see themselves in these patterns, how is your approach besides this 6-week workshop that you have, or how do you approach this, and how can people reach out to you?
Yeah, so the first thing is we do a discovery call. It's over the phone to just understand what they are struggling with. If they, I just want another diet, then it's not the right fit, right? Yeah. Then if I understand that they are really struggling with emotional eating and body image with few questions, I can, directly detect the pattern. We can hop on another call, like a 30 minutes call where we go through the workshop, what we're going to work on, what are the 3 pillars, and what to expect. And then we do the workshop. We do the program of the 6 week. It is important before we start any diet. So it's not like I do not give diets. I do, but I need to make sure that the person now understands his emotions and his thoughts and the inner critic that he's having and the nervous system. He's able to support his nervous system. Then I give him the diet. Then the diet will work and he won't have the relapse or the weight regain. Yeah. So this is the approach, from a discovery call to a full food freedom, peace with the body and a better body image.
That sounds good. Sounds good. I will definitely link your website and how you can reach Christelle in the show notes, because and you should also check out her Instagram, because I really like your reels.
Thank you.
They are really cool and very helpful. Christelle, thank you so much for this conversation. It was very interesting and so many things were totally new to me, to be honest. And I hope everyone who's listening and who recognizes themselves gets help or tries to figure out or find someone in their area who is doing the same or at least similar things that Christelle is doing. And if you enjoyed this episode, please share it with a friend who might need it and leave a quick rating or review. This really helps more than you think. Thank you, Christelle, for being here.
Thank you for your energy.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you.
That was fast, no?